Hello and welcome to High Vibe Astrology. This is Jennifer. Thank you for joining me as we take a look at the Taurus new moon drawn up for May 7th, 2024 at 11:22 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're new, thank you for finding this channel and for supporting this community with your energy. I invite you to subscribe, hit the like button, and share the messages as you feel guided, all of which are free and easy ways to support this channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, please know that my style of interpretation views the chart as a microcosm for the collective energies and humanity's evolution. What I share with you is what comes through my own spiritual guidance and conversations with Spirit, and I trust you to decide what aligns with you and applies to your life, letting the rest go. The changes initiated by the recent eclipses in March and April continue to unfold in ways that even while they may feel ungodly, they are ultimately designed to get us on track with our highest purpose in accordance with divine will. I guess we have to ask ourselves what is truly the most important thing to us. And in order to answer that question, we not only have to listen to the heart, we might need to release things that no longer serve what our true heart's desires are and be willing to take some risk or leap of faith. Because with Sagittarius rising, ruled by Jupiter, and being at odds with Jupiter, Jupiter forms a quincunx to the ascendant. And then with all this fifth house energy in this chart, there is an element of risk-taking that reminds me of the messages we received at the Aries new moon solar eclipse. The courage of love that results in entering the Garden of Delights. Both of those messages from the Rumi Oracle. We're not just handed our highest timeline or highest outcome. Really what it comes down to is placing our human ego, our self-will, on the altar of divine will and being willing to take some sort of risk in order to receive greater happiness. And that is definitely the message that I'm getting with this chart, even though there are more blue lines and more harmonious aspects, very supportive aspects that are coming through from the universe in this chart. And all this fifth house energy ruled by Venus, and Venus is in agreement with this new moon, there is still an element of release that needs to happen. Otherwise, the butterfly that we talked about at that Aries new moon solar eclipse goes through this entire process of transformation, but never flies. That is tragic, in my opinion. But I can only speak from my own experience when I say that life has taught me the hard way, that God's plan is always better than my own. I have learned to get out of the way, to just stop trying to push the river, push through obstacles, and to simply keep saying, I align with divine will. Because at every turn, in my life at least, there were obstacles, there were thwarted desires. Whether we're talking about simple decisions I wanted to make or very big life-changing decisions that had to be made. And after a while, it really does wear you down. And I think that a lot of this does have to do with Scorpio rising and my stellium of Scorpio in the first house. It was a constant death and rebirth of my own behavior, self-image, identity, and all of those mirrors in the outer world that called me back to myself, first house. I had to go within and keep going within to determine where I had somehow misread what was taking place in my life. But ultimately, Scorpio is the sign of surrendering, allowing that ego to be transformed into the phoenix and then the eagle. I mean, this is a lifelong endeavor. It is not an easy journey. No matter what your sign is, no matter what your rising sign is, if you are a human soul in a physical body on this planet at this time, it is not an easy journey. Unless you signed up for a life that was kind of taking a break this time around. But it has often felt like a maze, and I couldn't find my way out of this maze. So the only thing that I could do was surrender my will to the divine will and allow the eyes above that were protecting me and looking out for me, that could see the entire picture, to guide me each step of the way. Even though I couldn't see the exit of this maze yet, I had to trust each step by aligning with divine will to extricate myself from that maze, from that confusing hall of mirrors, which is what life sometimes feels like. But I'm reminded again and again, big dreams do not manifest overnight. And if there's something that you or we have been wanting for a very long time, now is the time to claim it. It is not the time to give up, because we have to keep reminding ourselves that we've placed our order with divine will. So now it's time to just forget about it. It's in the mail, so to speak. But if we keep checking that mailbox again and again, we're going to be disappointed. We've got to just allow spirit to do its work behind the scenes. This also really reminds me of a poem, and I know I've shared this poem before, but it really fits in this instance, especially with this fifth house energy, which is the inner child, and us all being on the journey of healing our inner child. This poem is anonymous. I don't know who wrote it, but it's always stuck with me. It says, "As children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because He is my friend. But then, instead of leaving Him in peace to work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. At last, I snatched them back and cried, 'How could you be so slow?' 'My child,' He said, 'what could I do? You never did let go.'" That to me is a powerful message of how we think we are helping along our plan, our goals, our objectives, when in fact we are the ones who are getting in the way of spirit unfolding in a more graceful way all of the dreams that we have ever put forth in prayer and meditation, whatever they are, however this resonates with you. All the fire signs require some sort of risk, an element of faith, a leap of faith in the inspiration that is moving us forward in our lives. And in this chart, with Sagittarius rising, making Jupiter the chart ruler, Jupiter being in the fifth house, and forming an odd angle, what we call a quincunx, to that Sagittarius ascendant. This is requiring advanced soul work to reconcile these energies. The low vibe is an over-reliance on the self to the point of being stubborn. Sagittarius in its low vibe is having faith in itself. I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. I know what I'm doing. I'm directing my life. I have faith in myself. That's the low vibe, to the point of being dogmatic in that single-pointed focus on where we're heading and how we're going to get there. It's a kind of know-it-all attitude. But when you're talking about divine will, there is not one single human being who knows it all. Only divine will knows it all. So this is where we need to be humble enough to say, not my will, but divine will be done. Taurus's low vibe, with Jupiter and Taurus, is a refusal to change. Jupiter expands what it touches. Taurus is the bull digging its heels into the earth, stubbornly not willing to change. It wants to hang on to status quo at all costs because it's peaceful. It's comfortable in its pasture. It knows this environment. It knows what to expect on a daily basis. But these two have got to be reconciled in some way. So there does need to be a releasing of the low vibes of both Sagittarius and Jupiter and Taurus, surrendering to divine will, as I've said, which will absolutely invoke miracles that can attract the circumstances that allow what we desire to manifest to actually manifest. The other low vibe of Taurus is a lack of faith in the self, because Taurus has everything to do with self-esteem and self-worth. So with Taurus, on the low vibe that is, there can be a lack of self-esteem. Taurus also rules the voice, the throat, and can have a beautiful voice, but with a lack of self-esteem, perhaps may be unwilling to share their own voice, to express it. And with this stellium in the fifth house, this really is about not just finding our voice, but being prompted to really express our voice, because the fifth house is all about creative self-expression and putting forth our will. But of course, that will, again, must be aligned with divine will. When you consider the rulers that are involved in this story, Jupiter ruling the chart and the ascendant, Sag rising, and Venus ruling this Taurus new moon, there's really no better combination than Venus and Jupiter, because Venus is all about love and attracting all the things that we love, all the things that we truly want for ourselves, and Jupiter expands upon that. With this stellium in the fifth house, we are actively being called to have the trust of a child, trust that divine miracles can unfold, because nothing is impossible where source, divine source, is concerned. We also have to remember that focus is fertilizer. Whatever we focus on is growing. Our energy is fertilizing. If we focus on what is not working in our lives, we're just going to get more of that. So we need to focus on our dreams and desires to really drop into the heart, get in touch again with what our heart truly wants, and hold on to that vision with unwavering faith and trust that divine will has heard it, is delivering, even if we can't see it in 3D reality. So in this chart, we do have incredibly harmonious aspects. All the blue lines are sextiles and trines that are supporting our dreams, our visions and goals. The red lines are merely stepping stones that are working those visionary muscles with some resistance training. That's all it is. So we've got to focus on the love, the healing, the abundance, always trusting that no matter what we are experiencing or seeing in our lives right now, it is still only 0.0001% of our entire reality. We have to trust the divine to manage the other 99.999% of the unseen realm, of the unseen potential that is yet to manifest, and that spirit is calling our attention to again and again, if we're willing to see the subtle synchronicity and signs. That's how spirit communicates to us. And that is really the magic of this dialogue between human will and divine will. It's what closes the gap between 3D reality and high dimensional reality. And it is that space where children who have not yet been tainted by adult education of, that's your imagination, that's not real, forget about your creative endeavors, forget about your creative talents, when really it is our creative endeavors that line us up with divine source. So we have just been entrained in this 3D matrix to separate ourselves from our creative abilities to actually support ourselves in this world. But the fifth house energy is asking us to become that trusting child again, to give time to our creative gifts and talents, to focus on our dreams, and then let go, release them to divine will, trust, surrender, and allow whatever is unfolding to be a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. One of these stepping stones is the square from Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces to the ascendant at 27 Sagittarius. Neptune can often confuse, disorient. It's like being a ship in the middle of the ocean and you've lost your compass. But you never really lose your compass because navigation was always through the stars, through looking up and remembering that the stars can guide us. Neptune has a very otherworldly and beyond this dimension type of energy that is meant to help us surrender to divine will. Even when there's fog surrounding us or a sea of waves and we have no clue as to where we're going, that is particularly the time to have faith, because we can't rely on human tools to guide us forward. And Neptune is in the third house. This is the realm of communication. So we are being asked to communicate, allow space for divine source to talk to us through signs, synchronicities, and magic. And this magic is also in agreement with Jupiter's placement in the fifth house, Jupiter being that chart ruler and the ruler of the ascendant. So allowing ourselves to communicate with source in this way is helping to reconcile that odd angle between the ascendant and Jupiter, its ruler. And Jupiter is a co-ruler of Pisces anyway. So this is bringing that energy into agreement. The third house energy is, I'll believe it when I see it, rational mind. But the fifth house energy is, I'll see it when I believe it. That is the heart and the inner child wonderment and belief in magic, what has not yet been seen. And sometimes children can see it because their pineal gland, their third eye, is still open. It hasn't been calcified like so many of us adults. So they actually can see it. And that is why they believe it. What I also find interesting is that Neptune is forming a conjunction to Mars, which has now moved into its own sign of Aries. And of course, it's very strong there. It's much happier there, much more at home, let's say. But this out of sign conjunction signifies to me another symbol of a very strong or natural ending and beginning. Neptune is finishing up its transit of its own sign, Pisces. Mars has just entered Aries. So Neptune is helping us truly complete our era of Pisces. It's bringing a natural conclusion to the era of Pisces, bringing up that low vibe so that we can flush it out. It's a water sign. Just allow it to go. It feels like humanity on the cusp of realizing just how much and to whom we've given our power away through this low vibe of Neptune and Pisces, so that we can use the positive energy of Mars to create healthy boundaries as we move forward, and use this also as the courage to forge ahead, leading us right into that fifth house garden of delights that we talked about at the time of the Aries new moon solar eclipse. Again, if I didn't mention it, courage of love was a prerequisite that guides us into the garden of delights. So Mars in Aries is the courage, and this entire stellium, new moon in Taurus, with Jupiter in this fifth house is that garden of delights. all the reasons we can think of to celebrate life, to actually have fun in what we do on a daily basis so that life can become magical again. We don't have to give our power away to institutions, agencies, hospitals, governments, or the collective in any way whatsoever. In fact, when we stay connected to our own heart center, that is a direct portal and line of communication to the divine. The paradox of being aligned with divine will is that we're called to make very individual choices, unique expression of divine will. That's the microcosm that automatically feeds and nourishes the macrocosm. We are fulfilling divine will when we follow our own heart's guidance. Divine will rarely guides us to go along with the crowd. I mean, we can certainly see that example in Christ and all of the ascended masters. Now, we also have Pluto on the cusp of the first and second house. This is major endings and beginnings, intense completions and rebirths of something having to do with our identity, behavior, self-image, because it's in the first house. But it is also right on the cusp of the second house, which is how we earn our income. It is also our self-esteem, our self-worth. So there's something around these two realms or areas of life that is really facing down a major ending and beginning, a new way of earning money, a new way of being in the world and sharing our identity and expressing ourselves, because the first house is how we dawn upon other people. I can't ignore either that we have the signs Capricorn and Cancer intercepted in this chart. And that brings me to the rulers. Saturn in Pisces in the third house rules the sign of Capricorn, and this new moon in Taurus rules the sign of Cancer in the seventh house. So again, interceptions are analogous to the North Node. It's uncharted territory. It's energy we have not had a model to follow. We've had no role model. So we are having to make our own way, forge our own path, and even more so because it's affecting the first and the seventh house. Capricorn in the first house. This is like something related to business, career, our mastery, and how we are sharing that with the world, how it's dawning upon us, and how we are dawning upon our community or the people right around us. But the energy around it is something we've never ever done before, so it might feel scary. It's ruled by Saturn in Pisces in the third house, so this could have something to do with communication. Saturn in Pisces, mastery of the spiritual language, the subtle realm, or of high and refined art, visual arts, painting, or music, but it could also be spiritual art. Whatever your creative endeavor may be. Cancer on the other side in the seventh house is telling us that whatever this new venture might be that's calling to us, it must have a component of emotional nurturance. It must feed us emotionally. It must feel at home to us. Or perhaps it's a business that you can operate out of your home. And something very intuitive with Cancer, or emotional bonds with other people, with the mirrors in our life, because it's seventh house, the house of partnerships, whether they're business or personal. Cancer is ruled by this new moon in the fifth house. So there is definitely an element of fun, of play, of adventure, creativity that really wants to guide us toward a more fulfilling way of being in this world. So now let's look at the North Node Chiron and Mercury conjunction on the IC, on that taproot of emotional fulfillment and foundation. This signifies healing, bringing Cancer into that whole picture, which is the fourth house energy, and encourages communication with our ancestors and with Divine Mother or the Earth. And because Sedna, also having to do with ancestral healing, is about a mother who was absent. She was not in the myth at all. It was all about the father-daughter relationship, but the mother wasn't in the picture. So with Sedna, it's bringing in the element of the mother who may have been absent, cold, cruel, or at the very least, neglectful. Abandonment issues, in other words, related to mother or a mother figure. And only take this if it fits. Don't make it fit if it doesn't. But Sedna always rewards with abundance those who follow sacred law and respect all forms of life, revering the power of words and language. So we are finding ways with Chiron on the nadir, conjunct the North Node, and Mercury, which rules that sixth house and is the dispositor of Sedna now in Gemini. There is definitely something around healing our ancestral line, saying the buck stops with me. I'm not going to pass on to my children, family, or community the unhealthy patterns in my family, or with my mother figure, or with my inner divine feminine, whether you are man, woman, or whatever gender you identify with. As I have said ad nauseum, it is about us bringing into divine balance and union these two opposite energies, which are not enemies, but actually complementary forces that must have equal voice. So if your mother or mother figure was absent in your life and caused a great void, it is Divine Mother or connecting with the Earth that will help you heal and help you bring into balance what has been out of balance for so long. I also want to point out that this whole idea of releasing or completing something, this very pronounced ending and beginning happening simultaneously, has a lot to do with Scorpio on the 11th house cusp and Taurus on the 5th house cusp. Scorpio is, of course, about releasing or eliminating something that no longer serves the soul's growth or the soul's graduation at whatever stage we find ourselves right now. Taurus is about stabilizing, making secure, making tangible the peace and security that we truly want, and the prosperity. We cannot forget that. Taurus is all about attracting material prosperity, but together, Scorpio and Taurus are interested in spiritual prosperity as well. It's the balance of spirit with material, the balance of the unseen, intangible with the seen and tangible. But Scorpio on the 11th is about releasing something related to our groups, or simply whatever mental concepts that are related to a group. Something needs to be released in that area in order for this fifth house magic to really come into being, to really take tangible form. And I also find it interesting that, as we continue experiencing the trine between Pluto and Sedna, planets that have the longest orbit of any planet known to us in our lifetime, these have a larger range of influence. And the fact that they have been in trine, I don't have those exact dates, but I've made videos on it. So please, you're welcome to check it out. But Pluto and Sedna have been in trine and will continue to be. I see this as the harmony between the phoenix, the second symbol of Scorpio, and the eagle. And I feel like Pluto on the cusp of the first and second, making a trine to Sedna, is like the eagle's wingspan, protecting us as we navigate these daily changes, whatever we're facing on a daily basis, so that we can keep our eye on the goal, always on the horizon, focused on what we want, and allowing everything else to simply be surrendered, recognizing it only as a stepping stone, not as a permanent obstacle. We also have, and this is important, Saturn in agreement with this new moon, and Venus, ruler of the new moon, conjoining the new moon. So Saturn makes things real and tangible. Saturn in Pisces is literally saying, I am making your dreams come true if you are willing to see beyond the mirage of the 3D reality and align your vision with divine vision. But sextiles are not going to be handed to us. We have to work the energy by staying vigilant about how we are focusing our energy, realizing that focus is fertilizer. So last but not least, we once again have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and even though Sedna is 0 degrees of Gemini, it's an out-of-sign conjunction, it is still hanging out with Jupiter and Uranus. And a friend recently sent me a video that was a discussion on Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions throughout our history and what that can mean for humanity's evolution. It was with Richard Tarnas, who wrote Cosmos and Psyche, and he did an extensive study of conjunctions throughout our history and what they can mean. Well, Jupiter with Uranus has consistently brought about a great awakening, a leap of consciousness in humanity. But I don't believe that we have ever had Sedna join in with Uranus and Jupiter, because Sedna, in our lifetime, those of us on the planet right now, have only ever experienced Sedna in Aries or Taurus. That's how slow Sedna moves, because of her exceptionally elongated orbit and length of time involved in that orbit, like 11,500 to 12,000 years. Every 14 years, Jupiter and Uranus are in a conjunction. However, the last time they were conjunct in the sign of Taurus was in 1941. And even though that was at the start of World War II, I really see it as the beginning of the end of World War II and humanity's triumph over the Nazi regime. But what we have to realize is that they didn't completely go away. They really just went underground and continued to infiltrate consciousness in insidious ways. But I do feel that with Sedna now conjoining Jupiter and Uranus in this leap of consciousness, Sedna's law being sacred law, Sedna is saying, I will no longer allow this type of transgression against life, and confessions will be heard in order for healing and abundance to be restored. But because of this infinite connection between the microcosm and macrocosm, when we truly understand that our power comes from aligning with divine will and going through the daily devotion of spiritual meditation, exercises, whatever it takes to decalcify our third eye, our pineal gland, so that we can see the magic, synchronicities, and the signs, the way that divine source is speaking to us all the time. Then we can follow the beat of our own drum and still serve the greater good. We don't have to fall in line to lift up humanity. In fact, the very opposite is true. So I'm going to leave this here in terms of the astrology. I did pull cards, 2 cards from my angelic messenger deck. The first one was love, which I relate to the 5th house energy. The second one was release, which I see as that Scorpio Taurus polarity and something needing to be released. And I also was called to pull a card from my Rumi deck, and that card is the celestial rose of Ma. So what I'm going to do is timestamp each of these messages. You can listen to none, one, all, whatever you want to do. But I wanted to include them for those of you who would like to listen, because I definitely feel that all of them have important messages that really sum up nicely what the astrology of this chart is conveying to us at this time. So please stay tuned for the frequencies, which are always time-stamped for you. And I look forward to being with you next time. Bye for now. Love is a card of reflection. Present challenge: seeking clarity through spiritual awareness. You have drawn this card of love to help you make important decisions for your life, create clarity out of confusion, and move through ambivalence and daily struggle. You may feel that the choices you are being asked to make seem too hard and the solutions too obscure. You may feel unprepared to do what life seems to be leading you toward, and that the problems you face are too complex to even solve, and or that depression and unsettledness are becoming too familiar emotional and spiritual companions. All these feelings may also be mixed with a sense of impatience, an impression that you are ready to create the life you want, but that the means of achieving or uncovering this new direction seem obscured. We are calling you to sort through your life and to find new or more meaningful means of nurturing yourself, surrounding yourself with people who love and respect you. Seeking spiritual awareness, the emergence of love within, is a hollow enterprise unless you can see each and every thought and action as contributing to the transformation of life already underway within you. Your true potential and power through love are mere shadows unless you recognize that love is the process that, used daily, will draw the right people and the most beneficial opportunities into your life. Loving yourself and finding goodness in others will help you achieve specific goals. You are being encouraged to expect love in your life and in all your relationships as the means through which you learn the easiest. Love in your heart will help you assess those tasks that you truly want to perform and that will bring you meaningful and purposeful growth. Your life is leading you toward a deeper connection with Divine Source, and all those daily practices that encourage this deep penetration of the Divine Essence will be encouraged. Assume that you are journeying toward enlightenment and that you are seeking to expand your spirit and your access to the dimension of divine love that heals. You are being guided to breathe into and breathe through each problem, accepting the truth that you are learning the means to discriminate between those people and means of living that support your enlightenment and those that represent only detours. You are learning the means to separate truth from illusion in your life and in your expectations. Move out of unnecessary action and busyness. Find opportunities for quiet times and reflect on the profound life changes underway in your life. You are loved more than you can imagine, and we, the angels of all life, are emerging into your presence so that you can draw from our love and re-merge with the essence of God from which you originated. The flower displayed to you on this card, a luscious fuchsia-colored blossom, is fully present to its inner cycles. The guidance that comes to you through this image is to become equally cognizant of your inner being and more fully available emotionally and spiritually to the learning inherent in each day. You have drawn this card because you are ready to accept that you no longer need to be or feel overwhelmed by life's demands or by the lack of clear direction or focus for your future. You are in a spiritual clarification phase, and you are being called to accept that at this time, your future is unfolding spiritually more than intellectually. With this card, you are being guided to have more faith in your intuitive choices and unexpressed initiatives. Like the yet unopened bud in the center of this flower, with its surrounding dark definition, You are seeking to realize your emerging potential. You are coming back into love with yourself so that you can be with others in ways that are more supportive and comforting, and so that you can expect the same from others. Try to be patient with yourself and realize that your present circumstances are important stepping stones on your spiritual journey. Application. This is a time when many small and insignificant chores and commitments will seem to eat into the time you want to spend with your partner, children, or close friends. Learn that you are not required to be all things to all people. You are within the energy flow of love that says you can love others enough to say no. You do have sufficient time to accomplish essential tasks if you allow others to share in the creation and implementation of plans. You can attract the financial resources you need as you realize that love is energy and it promotes a natural state of abundance and well-being. You can use acceptance of yourself as the means to awaken love and the meaningful guidance that can bring you greater comfort and solace. Release is a card of alignment. Present challenge. Relinquishing struggle and accepting the truth of your angelically inspired perception. You have drawn this card to help you validate your inner feelings about the work you are already doing, want to do, or dream about creating that is your gift to humanity and the planet. This is a critical card of alignment because it calls you to accept your own guidance and a spiritual perspective to your life. This card is also calling you to recognize that you may be sinking or stuck in the quicksand of your rational dialogue, and it is your cue to move into the perspective of your divine nature. You are being asked to see the value in your life as without hesitation you give love, appreciation, and compassion to yourself and others. Do the angelic kingdoms truly influence your life? Can you reduce pain and recycle self-destructive feelings and attitudes into compassionate and self-accepting ones? The answer is unequivocally yes, although it takes consistent desire and attention to bring about long-standing change. Your spirit seeks to draw you into an awakened state because this is all that it knows. When you meditate, pray, and try to live in awareness of your divine nature and the divinity of all other things, then you awaken grace and reduce struggle, no matter the physical circumstances you find yourself in. Your awakened spirit is the bud of love and God realization in your life. Consider the flower bud as it seeks the light of its purpose. You might wonder why it does not get confused and disoriented in making its way into life. You might imagine correctly that it has no other choice, and its life is pre-ordered to only accept its purpose. You are pre-ordered in basically the same way, because you and the flower both search for the physical and spiritual light. Struggle is part of living on planet Earth. Mental struggle is mitigated by spiritual awareness. When you find even momentary peace of mind, it's because you have called on your ability to accept and give love and compassion. You will have accepted that you have a Buddha nature, a wisdom mind that can merge with the awareness from other teachers, avatars, and masters to bring you into alignment with your highest self. It is only in this state of highest self that you can glimpse joy and release pain and the fear of abandonment and death. Consider this card as affirmation of your immediate ability to claim your highest self and release the needy aspects of your life that mentally hold you prisoner. As you find ways to relax your mind and find your spirit, the perceived limitations of your mental view will slowly vanish. Accept your own wisdom mind and those impulses that flow to your spirit from God, impulses that you can discover through your deep intuition. Here for your use in meditation is a powerful mantra that will encourage the process of release and acceptance of the true nature of your divinity. I am love, I give love. I accept love. I believe in love. I extend love. I am always becoming love. The guidance coming to you through this flower image helps you accept that you may find a diversity of authentic approaches to spiritual study and growth. Notice the brilliance of the healing green color as the buds gradually open to more subtle hues. These buds are symbolically your own spiritual impressions and feelings emerging from a wide variety of sources. Reading good spiritual literature, for instance, does much to awaken your own perceptions of what has merit and appeal to you. When you first hear of specific spiritual insights, interpretations, or observations, you may not accept some of them, or even any of them, as relevant for your path. If you've been raised in a particular religion, you may be tempted to feel that only one way is the authentic path to God. Your guidance through this card is to keep an open mind, to observe all that crosses your path, and to sense from your heart whether what you are reading or listening to has validity. Wherever it is genuine, your own perception will lead you toward love, compassion, and self-understanding. Application. This card is drawing your attention to your need to believe more in yourself and in your divine guidance. When you feel discouraged, try releasing all the mental busyness by fixing your attention on one solid object or beautiful image. Hold your attention here until the mental struggle abates and you find a sense of renewal emerging within your heart. This is a simple means of reaffirming the presence of your awakened spirit and its alignment with everything else in the universe. Try writing out an affirming statement of your acceptance of guidance in your life. An example of such a statement would be, I acknowledge my divine self and ask to live with awareness of this sublime love. Celestial Rose of Ma is card number 10 from the Rumi Oracle. The taste of bitterness becomes sweet in love. The searching in the dark finds the light of faith revealed in love. Love transforms thistles into jasmine. Love layers heaven and gifts us with wings to soar into its mystery. Love transforms our every thought into a desire of the heart. O love, how divine is your luring. Beauty flows from your unseen face. Your every nature is radiant with joy. You manifest vibrant hues in every flower. Your touch dazzles all creation. Every particle is attracted to you, longing to unite and dwell in you. Rumi. The Divine Mother offers me her rose. How rich that gift may be. I tear my flesh on its thorns, and my blood flows. I curse myself for carelessness, and yet in my desire to grasp this gift, it happens again and again. Then I realize such is its scent, its beauty. How can I be tentative in my approach? My senses are drenched in beauty, and I long to inhale the exquisite perfume, to reach for the velvet dew of the petals, soft and delicate under my touch. Perhaps I will be scraped and I will bleed, yet that is not enough to deter me, to prevent me from accepting this gift. The magnificence of the bloom renders the struggle to enjoy it as a worthy, noble, essential pursuit. Of course, I understand something so precious must be protected. It must be allowed to live, more than this, to thrive. So those thorns are hooks that allow for growth for those that would bear the pain of the ascent to the rose's blooming heart. And those thorns are barbs that keep away those that would consume the creation without appreciating its worth and beauty. Yes, those thorns serve essential purpose. I cannot begrudge them, for I love the rose, and so I love what is necessary for her to be, so I love the thorns too. A spiritual gift is on its way to you. The celestial rose of the Divine Mother is a precious offering of sacred love to the soul. That love can lift you beyond what you have known, beyond self-imposed limits, by the uplifting fragrance of grace. You will begin to think thoughts you have never dared think before. You will feel moved by life, by its sacredness, in a way hitherto elusive to you. You will feel ecstasy without apparent cause, and you will feel as though every breath is a seductive caress of the heavenly lover. You will be open and surrendered in a way you have longed to be, but in a way you've never known quite how to go about. This spiritual gift signifies the ending of a period of suffering and the opening up to a time of new opportunity, a flourishing and thriving release of your unique soul fragrance into the world. It is a gift worth having. So then, the sticking point is not the value of the gift. The sticking point, the place where one can stumble and place hands to the ground to break a fall rather than open them to receive, is in the thorn. The thorn is the point of pain. It is what tears at you, but is essential for you to receive the rose. Your thorn may be the love you need to let go of now, so you are open to your present rather than your haunted past. Your thorn may be the fear that if you grow too vibrant and embrace the magnificence of your being, others will shun you out of jealousy or fear and leave you alone. Your thorn may be a constant need to bargain with life, that you shall take one step provided certain unwanted events don't take place, rather than just accepting it and living it as presented to you. Your thorn may be looking deep into the heart and removing a crown of thorns, representative of your suffering over a long, long time, letting it go, allowing the heart to heal. This with a sense of virginal purity to emanate from the heart, realizing that even great suffering has not tarnished its radiance, but only allowed it to grow strong. Your ready for love heart can now be free from expectation and instead be open to life with curiosity and reverence. Oh, those thorns! They have served their purpose, not in and of themselves, but rather that they have proven you worthy of the rose and ready now to receive its beauty, healing, and grace. Whatever your thorns are or have been, be willing to deal with them, to face them, and most importantly, to release them without any shred of doubt, shame, guilt, or recrimination, beloved. They have served, and now their purpose has been completed. The celestial rose of Ma promises a gift worth so much more than any pain you are holding on to. So release to receive now. Can you sense the dew-soft petals and luscious fragrance opening to you now? Sacred honoring ritual. Place your hands in an open-palmed, upward-facing posture at the front of your chest, as if open and ready to receive. Say the following: Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, guide the spiritual gift of the Divine Mother, the blessing of the celestial rose of Ma, into my open hands and open heart, that I may know myself to be a cherished holy child of the universe, with my life unfolding according to sublime grace. Help me surrender whatever stands in the way of such fulfillment now. May I be blessed to release pain and be open to joy. Through merciful compassion, so be it. Close your hands in prayer at your heart and bow your head. You have finished your sacred honoring ritual.